Hey, just wanted to go over a couple of, I don't know, interesting, unique things. So, just to give you guys an understanding of what I'm trying to do with this phone number series. If you haven't watched it in succession, I think this video should be okay for anybody to listen to. I'm trying to give you my understanding of guitar soloing as I learn it. And I think it's important that I do that. Um, that way I can give you the little nuances that I catch as I figure them out. So if you're thinking, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, well, most of the time I don't. So that's fine. I have been playing music for a very long time, different instruments. I've been playing guitar for over 20 years. So when I say I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I mean that in a loose sense of I'm not Joe Satriani or Steve Vai or any of these guys. So I can't tell you their methodology. What I can tell you is what I've figured out so far. So to give you well, I'm not going to give you a basic rundown of my method, but I do think I'm going to have to update the videos because they seem very complex for some of you. But to simplify each section, the phone number, I give two phone numbers, 555-2233 and 253-2553, and each number relates to a finger pattern. So a 2 pattern is using the first finger, the second finger, and the fourth finger. A 3 pattern is switching these middle 2 fingers out. And a 5 pattern is stretching out, separating a fret in between each finger. And this is a simplification by playing 3 notes on every string as you move along. You're going to increase your knowledge of the fretboard. And by playing a scale considering the entire fretboard, you're going to look at the guitar as a single key signature, which most songs, and that's the reason why I'm showing you this way, most songs stick to one key signature, and sometimes they switch to a second key signature. Only complicated music like jazz needs to be done in a different approach method. So an approach meaning using chord tones to describe the section of the music that you're in. Let's say you're playing a D minor 6 chord. You can't just play any key signature. You have to play the ones that that fit the D minor 6. So that's where you would use an approach, where you might stick to the chord tones. You can add the tones that are that don't add tension. And the reason I'm giving you this video today is because I wanted to talk about the concept of tension and non-tension. In standard, 7-note key signatures, tense notes are the 4th and the 7th, and I call the 7th the first tense note because it's the note that more songs tend to favor. The 4th note is a note that the majority of music that I've run across kind of tries to leave out and says, I don't like the 4th. So they tend to shy away from the 4th note except for when they're trying to create tension. So since I am sticking to the key of G for most of you, if you can see my fretboard, when you see these scales that I play, let's start in the Ionian mode, which is a 5-5-2-2-3-3, right? So I have my sound down really low because it's late at night, so figured I'd do it anyway, whatever. Now, you can see that there are, in the 2s and 3s is where you actually have your tension. So those two notes that are right next to each other, this is the tension note, and this is the tension note. So if I subtract them, that's actually the wrong scale, so forget that. But when you subtract the 7th and the 4th, you get the pentatonic scales. So another thing to practice is when you see these standard when you see these scales, you want to see also the pentatonic scales in a layer. I have a PDF I'm going to upload to a website as soon as I find one, where you can see the relationship between these pentatonic scales. So the blue notes are the chord tones, the grayed out notes, the kind of brownish notes, are the 7th and the 4ths, and all the black notes are the pentatonic notes. So the 5 notes of the pentatonic scale. So if you think of the key of G and you see all of these notes, and the white note, by the way, is the jazz blues embellishment note, like so. Look at that link that I'll put up there hopefully soon, and come back to it if I don't find a place to upload that PDF. So the thing I wanted to talk to you about is that tension. So let's say I call them anchor points as well. There's a couple of anchor points. Let's look at the Aeolian scale, which most people recognize. You know, it's if I do the pentatonic, right? So now the pentatonics have a pattern as well, and I call this a 4 pattern, since it uses the 4th finger and nothing else, right? And I call this a 1 pattern. It's a whole step. So the step and a half is a 4, and the 1 shape. So we have the 2, the 3, the 5, the 4, and the 1. Okay, I know that was quick. All right. So on this Aeolian shape, in this what is it? An E minor pentatonic, right? But in the key of G, we're going to use all those notes in between. So there's the anchor note right there. It dips out of the the scale shape, to be the only note done on the 11th fret here. So I call that an anchor point. And what you should do is you should see this in the standard scale shapes. When you get to that anchor point, think about the scale below it. Right, and all the way back down, here we are into Phrygian. Right, and into Dorian. which to me that's not Dorian. It's just that section of the key of the scale of the fretboard. Sorry, and then into the Ionian and Locrian, and then so Locrian, right? So what you want to do is eventually see all these things float together. Like real quick. So if I go Locrian, this 2 becomes a 3. Or I'm sorry, this 3 becomes a 2. Then this 3 up here becomes a 2. So we go from Locrian all the way up to Phrygian and back down, and then maybe up, so you play the scale, right? And then you go back and you make sure that what you'll find is if you try to solo along with something and try to remember all those positions, is you'll have little gaps, like maybe in here in this Dorian area, you'll find you don't fully remember, so what happened to me was I finally started recognizing these 2s. And then the one down here. So there's that anchor point right here. Now the anchors are a tension note. So let's say you're playing along. Right, this note is like it's asking to be resolved. Right, so all these are resolved notes, kind of, and then tension notes. So when you're on a tension note, you have to remember that. And sometimes some songs can make, in a standard key signature, they can make a standard pentatonic note, some kind of a tension, and it depends on the chord they're trying to play underneath it. So it's a listening thing. So once you get the phone number down, remember where those tension notes are, and by using your pentatonic scales, right? So you're going to go, when you're in Phrygian right here, B Phrygian in the key of G, you're going to go, okay, look, this F sharp right here is possibly a tension note, so I got to be careful when I'm running around and just deciding, I'll just play all 7 notes in the scale, and then you're going to hit that note and it's going to sound awful. So you have to have a listening quality to the song you're playing and recognize those tense areas. Remember your 7ths and 4ths. If you start there, you can kind of ignore all the other notes and just recognize them as they're probably going to be really close to being untense. So you can just jump around on all the pentatonic notes pretty safely. Some songs will try to trick you with that. But if you pay attention to the 7th and the 4th positions, you're going to do way better than the person who's just plucking around hoping to land on good notes, right? And then you'll start to see other people's approaches where they'll use chord tones, and you can jump down the chord tones. And you'll see them a lot easier. You'll see, and then you'll know when I want to play a tense note, I'll know where to find it, right? So there's another exercise I do, which is just jumping around on the tension notes, and it's a very simple pattern. Right? They're all diagonals. So when you're on one, if you want to jump to the next one, it's just wah, which, make sure you're doing that in the right song. So let's see if I have. Let me see if I had a song up here that I wanted to play. I don't actually. So let me see if I could find it here. No. Actually, well, there is a song. That we like to practice with, because it's in the key of G. And if you know that it's in the key of G, then you're going to have a much easier time with it. I don't always play in the key of G, so I'll do one where you're going to see this in the key of G. Let me see if it's too loud. Hold on. Okay, so let's say I'm jumping around. Right, and I want to add tension. Right here it is. That's not a tense note. Look, you can hear most of the song. It sounds good. Here's the tension. It's asking for it. So here's all the tense notes. So you can see that, some of them, they don't always fit. So you kind of have to listen to the song, and the reason why, the whole reason I got up this night to give you this video, which now it's way too long. So, but YouTube lets me upload longer videos because I don't know why. Maybe they got a bigger hard drive. So you're running along, and you want to listen to the song, and you want to play with the notes that that are like, well, that note is in the phone number, so I should be able to play it. But let's say you don't know where they're going, which is a lot of what I'm trying to figure out now, and they jump to a note that's not in the key signature. The only way you're going to know is if you're using that listening quality of intonation, right? And that says that I know that this note is this next note that I'm going to play is going to be la, right? So that's why singing and hearing go hand in hand. And if you have a terrible ear, your playing is going to be rather limited. You want to get. My point was I wanted to play what I heard. So there's two ways to approach that. You can practice enough that you start to totally understand an intonation, that you jump to the right note. And the other one is just sit down day after day after day and practice your listening skill and saying, okay, this is the note I want. Where is it? Boom, it's right there. And then just going over and over and over again. And in the olden days, that's what people did. People still try to do that, and it's a good thing to do both of them together. But what happens a lot of times is after playing so many years, you just get instinctively good at landing on the right note. So let's keep hearing this and see where I'm going to take this here. Let's see. on purpose. It adds a little bit of weird tension. Tension. Here's a tension note that doesn't work. I don't know why I wanted to play it so you knew. There's a note that didn't belong in the scale. Right now it doesn't work. So using other approaches, you can tell you can add certain notes, and the other way to do it is saying, okay, I added that note because I knew where that sound was going to end up. So I played it even though I knew instinctively, because I know the note, that note shouldn't be in the key of G, but in the song it was asked for in the chord that Steve Vai was playing. So I just laid it down there. Okay, so that's hopefully, if you get to that point, you can lay those notes out. Or practice however you want. Okay, so next video I'm going to improv for you on a song that I have not tried to play before, and I'm going to talk to you about why I'm doing certain things. All right, so